Number 482. Is there any problem? You are raising the hand. Okay. So I repeat, object is created. Once the object is created, a memory should be allocated. So before memory allocated, then JVM clears the garbage value. So now my discussion is the garbage collection. Garbage collection. So let us take this is called as a garbage collection. Okay, this is called as a garbage collection. What is the garbage collection? Several times I repeated the same thing. What is the garbage collection? A garbage collection stands for an object is created. Once an object is created, a memory space is allocated to the object. So how the object memory space is allocated? It can clear unreferenced object memory space. Unreferenced object space by the compiler or JVM. Okay, normally in the C or C++, you can clear the garbage before allocation of the object. But in the Java, JVM clears the garbage before allocation of the memory space for the object. Okay, so memory space is allocated, then the garbage collection, after that memory space is allocated. First point. Second point, once the object is created, the object is directly refers to the constructors. That constructors can be either created by the user or created by the system. If the constructor is created by the system, it can have only default values, 0, null, everything. But the constructor are created by the user, then you have the initialization value. Okay. So what is the purpose of the object? Object can access the attributes of the class. Okay, attributes of the class. So, right. So what are the attributes? Data types, methods, and constructors. All are all attributes. Okay, right. All are attributes are there. Clear? No. So next, suppose I want to do one thing. Suppose normally for the wise programmer, they can create the two classes. One class contains the attributes and second class contains the objects. This is the best way. So because there must be some confusion. So to avoid this confusion, maximum everybody thinking that there are two classes are there. In the first class, attributes are there. The attributes may be data types, methods, and constructors. And second class contains the objects. And main is a one method, along with the main, then there are second object. So the user can save the two files. The user can save the two files. Okay, right. Next, suppose what is the garbage collection? I already mentioned that you are creating a new object. Once creating a new object, then a memory space should be allocated to object. So before memory allocated, the JVM clears the garbage value. What is the garbage? The garbage stands for unreferenced memory space should be cleared. Unreferenced memory space should be cleared. So to clear, what is the unreferenced? That means if you are creating an object, you are frequently referenced. That means you can utilize that objects. You can utilize that objects. Okay, you can utilize that objects. Suppose you are creating an object, but you are not properly that object, that a memory space is wasted out. So that wasted memory space should be cleared, and that space can be allocated to new object. So clearance of the unused objects or unreferenced objects is called as a garbage collection. Garbage collection. Okay, all right. So that's I'm saying that here they are writing right here. Okay, garbage collection is a process of recleaning or reclaiming the runtime unused memory automatically. Unused Okay, memory automatically. So in other words, it is a way to destroy the unused objects. Yes. Okay, but in the C language, you are using a free and delete. This can be used, but in the Java, it can clear automatically before the object is created. The unused memory space should be clear. That is called as a garbage collection. Why? Because what is the advantage? Unused memory space should be deleted. So that means maximum utilization of the memory. Maximum utilization of the memory. Right. What are the different methods are there? The first one. So that means you are not performing any garbage collection. JVM can be. So for the JVM cleanup of the collection, then it can perform a certain operation. What are that? Number one, nulling the reference. So that means if the reference is assigned to 0, okay, so that means it can, that is if the reference is equal to 0. So suppose the reference is equal to 10 or 20 or 30 or 100. So that means whenever an object is created, if the so many people or so many times the object is created, that reference count is increases. Reference count is increases. Suppose if anybody not uses, then reference count is 0. First point. Second point, suppose if you are forcibly reference number is set to 0, then that can be garbage. That can be clear. So this is the first one. So this is a very important thing. Please see this. So this is the by nulling a reference. So let us take employee is a object class name, G is a object name, is equal to is assignment, new is a new allocation, and employee. So that means I want to clear the employee object. Just you can clear E is equal to null. So difference number is equal to 0. This is not performed by you. The system can be performed. JVM, Java Virtual Machine, can be performed the garbage collection. Okay, so that is. Suppose second one is E1 is equal to E2, then what happens? It can be cleared. This is called the assigning reference to another. Next, new employee. Next, further, there are two methods are there. One is the finalize. So it is given in your syllabus. Finalizing. So what is the finalizing? Finalizing is a method for the garbage collection. What is the garbage collection? And clearance of the unreferenced object memory can be cleared. Okay. For this we are using finalizing method. So let us take protected void finalize. So this method is different object. So this is the method. Finalize. What is the function of the finalize? For the garbage collection. What is the garbage collection? Memory space is allocated whenever a new object is created. So before creation, it can clear the garbage. What is the garbage? Unreferenced memory space allocations is called as a garbage. That can be cleared by whom? JVM. For that purpose, what the JVM uses, they can use the finalize method. So this is also one type of method. Okay. Right. Next one is GC method. Actually, GC method can call the finalize method. No use. So GC method can call the finalize method. Then finalize can clear the garbage value. So that object should be created. So this is called as a garbage collection. Okay. So this is the some GC method. GC method can call the finalize method. Finalize method purpose is to clear the garbage value. So who can perform? JVM can perform, not by user. Okay, so this is default garbage collection by the JVM. Okay, next I want to discuss about the modifiers. Actually, in your syllabus, they're asking the concept of visual modifiers. visible modifier or visual modifier. What is the modifier? Okay, there are two types of modifiers are there. Visible modifiers, okay, not visible modifiers. What is the modifier? Okay, so modifier can specify whether modifier can specify whether your object, your class, your attributes, your constructor, everything can be visible to another outside the class or not. So whether you are visible to, whether you are willing to visible to outside or not visible to outside. Whether you want to visible to outside, that is called a visible modifier. Whether you don't want to visible to outside, only can be applicable to inside the specific class, that is called as a protected. That is called as a private. That is called as a private. Only visible to particular class. That is called inside. So not visible to outside. Not visible to attributes, class, methods, constructor, whatever it may be, not visible to outside. Okay, so right. This is called as a access modifier. So then you can specify, okay, you can specify if you're observing any program, you can observe that public, static, private, and protected, default, okay, public, static. So these are all called as a access modifier. So what are the visible modifiers are? So modifiers are visible to outside, it's called as a visible modifier. Modifiers, okay, that is the attributes or the class parameters are not visible to outside. It is a not visible to outside. So visible modifier, not visible modifier. What are that? Okay, so let us take, so here there are two types of access modifiers and non-access modifier. Access modifier stands for that can be easily accessed, that is called as a visible modifiers. Non-access modifier stands for that is not accepted by the outside parameters. Okay, right. So let us take the first one. So here I want to discuss about the one, okay, some of them. Yes. First is the private. So private stands for that modifier. So private is a not access modifier. That means that is not accepted by the outside. So you can accept inside the class, inside the method, or inside only. Not accepted by outside. So that is called as a private. So the access level of private modifier is only within the class. It cannot be accessed from the outside the class. Yes. Next is public. Next is the public. So public you can quite opposite. So that attributes are accessible to everybody outside the class also. Okay. So that's why it is called as a everywhere. So it can be accessed from within the class, outside the class, within the package, or outside the package. So package is not specific here. I can explain later, but not here. So let us take, I will give an example. So the comparison. Okay. So just now you can understand that private and public. Just now up to now. And static. Static is static and public. So there are other modifiers that can be used for the methods also. So private stands for within the class, yes. Within the package, no. So this is outside the package, no. And next outside the package. So that means it can be accessed only within the given class only. Public, it can access everywhere. You can access everywhere, okay? Right. So let us take, I will give one example to all of you. So this is called as a private. Yes. So let us take the class is a class. This is a class, and this is these are all. This is the attribute value. So please see this. Private or modifiers, not only for the data, they can use for the class. They can use for the attributes. They can use for the modifiers. They can use for the constructors. They can use for the objects also. Okay. So please see this. Let us take the attribute is the integer data type, integer, the name is the data and its value is equal to 40. And what is the modifier? This is called as a modifier, private. And what is this? This is a private. So this is the method. What is this method? Private is a modifier, void is a return type, message is the method name, and inside the function is the, you can print the Java. So let us take, the class is the public. So there are two classes are there. There's the first class and the second class. And the second class public. And so why I am saying, because I want to show you whether it is accessed by the outside or not. So inside class A is the inside, private is inside only. So that means it is execute only the class A. I am creating another class. So outside. So here I am creating one object, A object. So A is a class A. Object is object name and a new create. So object is created. So now I want to call the message. So call by val. So this is called object.message. Where is the object? It is in another class. Where is the method? Another class. So what is the modifier? Private. So what is the function of the private? Private is working. Private is a modifier which working only inside the class. But I am calling the method from outside. So that means it will not execute. So that's why you will give some error. Why? Because the method and data both are private. Private stands for in which class you are declaring, that is called as a private. At that function, at that class only it can be working. Outside the class, if you are calling the method, if you are calling the attributes from outside, they are not working. This process is called as a private. Private stands for it can be executed only within the class. Public stands for it can be executed in any part of the program or inside the class, outside. So it can be available to everywhere outside. Okay. Right. This is called as a constructor also. So role of the private constructor also. So let us take this is the class A. And so how should you differentiate between the method and the constructor? How should you identify the method and constructor? The constructor name is exactly equal to the class name. Okay. Normally you are not specify any modifier. You can just for the constructor you should give the name of the class name. Okay. Right. So that's why it is a class, but you are using the private. So that means it is executed only inside the class. So then it will get some error. So what I'm saying is that if you are using the private as a modifier, that can be executed only in the specific class, not executed outside the class. Okay. If you are not mentioned, I repeat, if you not mention public or private, that is the default value. That is called as a default value. So see this is the class. So before the class, you are not mentioned public or private. So that means it can be accessed, right? That is called as the default value. Protected, it is not useful right now. Public. Let us take the public. So what is the class? So because we are not studying the package, so that's why we don't know. So now we can understand only up to the class. What is the class? Public. So what is this is called public void. So this is called as a method. What is the method it want to print? Okay. So now I am creating another class. So what is the class name? B. Within that I am creating one object. Okay. This object can be called object.message. So this is called object.message. So but before the message, what is the modifier? Public. So it should be executed. So then it will be hello. Okay. Okay, right. All right. So this is called as a overriding. I can explain it. Right. Up to now, you are understanding the constructors and modifiers. Okay. Right. So next is I want to discuss about I think in your syllabus they are giving some string classes there. It is already explained. String classes means there are different string functions are there. String length, small to upper, upper to small, count to length, find out the index character, character length. These are all the different functions of the classes. So it is already explained. So that means if for further reference, it is better to refer the string class. String class. So then string class can already some specific classes are defined. So that class can perform certain operations. Okay. So this is some first chapter. Okay. So now I want to go to the second chapter. That is the second unit. The topic is the inheritance. The topic is the inheritance. So before going to explain about the next topic, class and object is important. What are we are learning from the first chapter? Class. Class contain the arguments to accept, or not argument, attribute. To accept that attributes, we should create the object. For the creation of the object, a garbage collection should be performed by the JVM. Because object created, a memory should be allocated. A memory before allocation of the memory, what is the garbage? That garbage should be created, deleted. Okay, that can be performed by the JVM with the help of the invoke. Okay, all right. Right. So next thing is method. So method. So method is it is a set of instructions which can perform a specific function. Okay. So whenever you call, whenever you refer the method, then that specific function should be performed repeatedly. But another one is the constructor. Another one is the constructor. So constructor is a one type of method. But what happens to object can access the attributes. Attributes having the values. That values are preserved in the constructor. That constructor can be created by the user or system. If the system creates a constructor, then it can store only the default value. But the constructor can be created by the user, it has certain values. Of course, it is already discussed. Okay, next to modifiers. So this is called the removing of the unreferenced memory location is called as a garbage. Okay, how the this is clear? This is cleared by the JVM. Yes. Next. Next is the modifier, visible modifier. What is the modifiers? You can specify whether the arguments working within the class or outside the class. So there are three types are there. Up to now, there are three types are there. First one is called as a public. If it is public, the outside the class also accept its parameters. That attributes are methods, constructors, or variables, whatever it may be. Suppose that is called visible to outside. So visible modifier. Next is the private. So private modifier can be executed only within the class. Within the specific class, it is not accepted by the outsiders. Default. You are not mentioning default, then it can be default access. All right. So these are all the important parameters in the Java language. So these are all repeatedly comes from next onwards. Okay, right. This is called as a some basic idea about the classes and objects, modifiers, constructors, and visible modifiers. Okay, access modifier or visible modifiers both are same. So next, I want to discuss the very important concept that is called as a I think. Right. So next I want to discuss about the inheritance, second unit, inheritance. So please. What is the inheritance value? Okay, what is the inheritance? It's a very important concept from now onwards. What is the meaning is that before going to explain about some important thing, suppose I will give an example. Suppose our parents can perform, can make a habitat, and they are following certain rules. So once our parents have become the elders, then the kids come to the picture. So the kids can also access, can also follow. Okay, if the kids can also follow, then certain rules, not all the rules, certain rules they can follow. So what are the parents or make a habitat, or they are creating certain rules, the rules can be followed by the kids, is called as a inheritance. Is called as a inheritance. Is called as a inheritance. I repeat, what our parents are training up and they are hardening, they are creating some blueprint. That blueprint cannot be created by the son, and he can just follow and utilize the what the parents are preparing. This is called as a inheritance. Following. Following. In Telugu, it is called as a varasattvanu. Our parents can do the business, then that business can be performed by the child, then it is called as a inheritance. Suppose parent is a farmer or agriculture, the student is also following the agriculture. Okay, so that's why that tradition, what the parents are followed, that can be followed by the student is called as a inheritance. Inheritance. Okay, all right. So please see this. Inheritance in Java is a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties and behaviors of the parent object. That's what I'm saying now. So our father learned something from their parents, our grandparents. Their parents can learn something from their parents. So by this way, so from grandparent to grandparent, grandparent to parent, parent to kid, kid to grandson, grandson to grandson. So by this way, the tradition can follow from our past to future also. Okay, suppose if the kid follows the parent, then he is not start from initial. Already parent is done. So that we can accept. That we can accept. So by this way, your time and your memory should be can be utilized for another purpose. Can be utilized for the other purpose. So I will give an example. Dhirubhai Ambani. Dhirubhai Ambani is a founder of Reliance. Okay, he had the two sons. One is Mukesh and another one is Anand. So Mukesh Ambani follows his father. He can develop the business. Where the father left, he can start the business from there. And he will become the one of the richest person in the world. Okay, so that's why he is not start from zero. He can start where the father lived, then he can start the zero. So that means already groundwork is done by the parent. So then that work is accepted and he can develop. So this process is called as a inheritance. This process is called as a inheritance. Same way, what are the parent can do that can be transferred to their kids is called as a inheritance. The process of transfer from parent to child is called as a inheritance. Okay. This is called as a relationship. Is a relationship. Parent is a relationship to what? The kid. Okay, this is called parent-child is a relationship. Is a relationship. Right. So this is the concept. I hope you are understanding the concept of inheritance. Inheritance stands for, I repeat, inheritance stands for accessing the parameters or some work already done in the parent class can be transferred by the kid, or the kid can access the parameters or methods or which are created from the parent. This relationship, this process is called the transferring the data, transferring the parameter, transferring the method, transferring the attributes from parent to kid is called as a inheritance. Inheritance. So in the kid, there is no necessary to create from starting point of right. Starting point. First point. Second point. So next, what is the relation? It is a easy relation. So parent is a relation to kid. So parent-child relationship, right? Next thing. What are the different types of inheritance? Before going to inheritance, I want to discuss about that. In the inheritance, you can create the two classes. You can create two classes. One is a parent class, another is a child class, kid class or child class. So the parent class is called as a super class. The kid class is called as a child class or subclass. So for the inheritance point, for inheritance, we should create the two classes. One class is called as a super class or parent class, and second one is called as a second one is called as a subclass or the child class or the child class. Okay. So let us take this. The different types of inheritance are there. Right. So this is where we are using the inheritance method overriding. I can explain overriding later. So what are the terms used in the inheritance? Number one, you know that class. Class contains the arguments and objects, okay, and methods. What is the subclass? Subclass is called as a child class. So which class accepts the data from another class is called as a child class or subclass. Second one, superclass. Which class can provide the necessities to child, that is called as a superclass or parent class. Reusability. So several times you can use the same thing. Okay. Right. First one. Suppose how to understand the inheritances exist in the program or not. If you are observing the word extends between the two classes, then it indicates a inheritances exist. Inheritance property, an inheritance property is exist. So that's why the syntax of the Java inheritance. So let us take how to inheritance should be created. Number one, so subclass or superclass, both are class. So that's why first you can create the class. Next, subclass name. So that is the child class name. So child class is inherited from parent class. So that's why extends. If you are observing the extends, then that indicates that child class is linked with the parent class. What is the parent class name? This is the superclass. So for the inheritance, you should create the two classes. One is the parent class and another one is the subclass. Okay, the superclass, subclass, parent class, child class. Okay, fine. So that's why I am saying that ends is the very important. Ends which will connect the two classes, parent and kid, superclass and subclass. So let us take, this is one example. This is one example. So what is the class? So let us take the class before there is nothing is there. So then this is the default modifiers. Default modifiers. Okay. So what is the class name? Employee, and what are the attributes are there? Float, salary is equal to 40,000. So this is one class. This is one class. Okay. And there is another class is there. So programmer is another class. Programmer is another class. So which extends from employee? Which extends from employee? So this is the subclass. What is the subclass name? Programmer. What is the parent class? It is an employee. Okay, and its function is equal to, so this is called as a one. So this is the one class and this is the another class. So I am saying that there are two classes are there. One class contains the parent, one class, another class act as a subclass. So in the subclass, what is the attributes are there, bonus. Next, void is a method. Void is a method. Okay, how to understand it is inherited? That is called extends. So let us take, I want to create one object. So what is the function of the object? Object can access the attributes of the class. Okay, objects access the attributes of the class. So for that I can create objects. So what is the object? This is called programmer. Programmer is the name of the subclass. So that means you are creating object in subclass. So then what is the name of the subclass? P, and it is a creating new. So once I already say that once a new object is created, before creation of the object, then JVM clears the garbage collection. Okay. Second thing, a constructor is created defaultly. So that is also JVM is created. So that should be accessed by the object with the default values because you are not creating. Right. So now I want to display. So let us say this is called written P. So P is a object in subclass. And what is this function? P dot is salary. But salary is an argument of parent. Salary is an argument of the parent. So the subclass or the child class can accept the attributes from the parent. And next one, bonus. Bonus is a argument in the subclass. So that means what is the benefit of the inheritance? The child class can access the attributes from the parent class and also access its own class. So that's why along with the parent, and he can be developed, he can create another one. That is called as a inheritance. In the inheritance property, you can access some parameters or attributes from the parent class and you can add another one. You can create another one. Okay, but it is not necessary to create anyone here. Okay, so that means you can utilize some properties from the parent class. This utilization is called as a inheritance with the help of the extends. With the help of the extends. Okay, so now why? Because I am saying that the float is a attribute value which is in employee class, but salary, bonus is a attribute in the subclass. But in the subclass, I am accessing the two, the own parameters and also the parent parameters also, parent objects, okay, parent attributes. Here. So this is the advantage of the inheritance. Okay. Right. Next. What are the different types of inheritance are there? What are the different types of inheritance are there? So there are different types are there. Number one, so there are 5 types are there, but in this class I want to discuss about the only 3 and remaining should be discussed later. What are the types of the classes are there? Number one, single. One parent class, one child class. Next is the multi-level. So parent, son and grandparent. This is called as a multi-level. This is called as a multi-level. So 3 classes are there. So parent, superclass, subclass and super subclass. Okay, this is the multi-level. And hierarchical. So actually up to now parent having a only 1 class, but here the parent having a 2 classes. The parent having a 2 kids. The parent having a 2 kids. Okay, but the 2 kids can access the properties of the class A, but they don't, the interchange, the subclass and subclass cannot inheritance should be takes place. Subclass and subclass cannot be interference, inheritance should not be takes place. It should be inherited with the parent class. Okay, they can accept both from the class A, but not themselves, they can transfer the class B and class C inherited. Okay, and this is the different one. So that means this is called as a multiple and this is called as a hybrid. So that should be explained later, but not now. Let us take first, I want to discuss about the single inheritance problem. Single inheritance. What is the inheritance? Parent class attributes can be accessed by the child class along with his own class and his access to the attributes from the parent class. Okay, right. So single, only one parent, one kid. So let us take, I want to discuss animal. Animal is a parent class. Animal is a parent class. Okay, and it can create a own method that is called eating. Parent having a method, parent class having a method that can be eating. Right. This is the attribute. Method is a, in this, it is a this method is a attribute. Suppose what I'm saying is a single intent, one parent and one child. So let us take the child. How to understand the inheritance? By checking the extent. By checking the extent. Let us take class, because the kid is also class. So class and is class name, that is the subclass name, and it is extends from parent class. So extends from animal. So animal is the parent class. So what is the attributes in the child class? This is called barking. All right. So let us take, I am creating the third class. In the third class, the main program is there. In the third class, the main program is there. Main method is there. Not program, main method is there. So I am creating, so of course, suppose I am creating this behavior, that object is in the child class also. But for the easiness point of view, the parent, and this is the third one. So you can create running the program. So in the third method, in the third class, they are creating one object. Dog is a subclass name, and D is subclass name, and D is the object name, and a new assignment, and it is created from the dog. Okay. So now, what is the functionality of the inheritance? The subclass can accept the parent class attributes. So let us take, this is called as a eat. So this is called eat. Eat belongs to parent. So I can create d.eat. And bark is a child class. So d.bark. Okay. So then I can access the child class along with the parent class attributes. So this is the value. Next is the multi-level. Suppose let us take animal, cat, or a dog, or puppy dog. So 3 levels. Okay, animal, dog, and puppy dog. So parent, son, grandson. So that is called as a multi-level. So let us take one level. So animal, eating is the one method attribute. Dog extends from animal. Okay, but puppy dog, baby dog extends from dog, not from the animal. Not from the animal. So dog extends from dog. So that's why it is weeping. You are creating the fourth class, then you are getting the one object is created. This object can want to access the attributes from the grandson, son, and parent. So that's why it can be accessed with the help of the d.weep, d.walk. So that's why what are the parents having the property? That property can be accessed by the subclass. Okay. Right. So then you are getting the weeping. Next to hierarchical. What is the hierarchical stands for? Up to now, only one son is there. One son having only one son, that is called as a baby grandson is there. But in the hierarchical point of view, you should create one parent class and 2 subclasses. 2 subclasses. The 2 subclasses are inherited to the parent class independently. So let us take, first is the animal class. This is the parent class. And this is a attribute method, and dog is a one subclass, extends from animal, and its function is a barking. And next to cat. Cat is also, I repeat, class is also inherited from the class A, because cat is also an animal. So that's why this is also animal. Okay. So how many subclasses are there? 2 subclasses. 2 subclasses are directly inherited to the parent class. So now I am creating another class for the efficient purpose point of view. So now I am creating one new object. Okay, one new object. What is that object? C.meow. So meow is a method which is available in the cat. Okay, and next one C dot E. Eat is belongs to animal. So that's why cat is a subclass. Cat is a subclass and which is inherited from the class A. And D, so let us take B is a dog is a one subclass which is inherited from the animal A. So that but I am not using the C dot bark. I am not using the C dot bark because child to child inheritance is not possible. Both are possible with the help of the parent inheritance, parent class. So this is some idea. Okay, let us take. Next, I want to discuss about, if you are giving permission, right. So that's it for today. Okay, right from 11 onwards, you have the some interaction with IETE. So all of you, please leave this. Okay, Divya, any problem? Divya, any doubt?
No, sir. By mistake it came, sir.
Okay, I request all the students, if you have any doubt, please send your doubt to my personal WhatsApp. Okay, thank you. Now it is time to leave.